Have you ever wondered how soldiers would survive in the cold and still protect us? But wait, according to the channel's statistics, 99% of you viewing are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing to keep on getting notifications on the fascinating history we cover and get to learn more about ancient technology. What if I told you that Cold War shelters built over 60 years ago may actually outperform many modern survival bunkers today? Not in aesthetics, not in comfort, but in the one thing that matters when everything collapses: survivability. Sounds impossible, right? We have better technology, better materials, better simulations. So how could something designed in the 1950s possibly be better? Unless modern shelters aren't actually designed for you. During the Cold War, planners assumed the worst-case scenario always. Not one bomb, not a limited strike, but full-scale nuclear exchange. Cities erased, infrastructure gone, electromagnetic pulses frying electronics. No outside help, no rescue. So shelters weren't built as hideouts, they were built as systems. Systems that had to work, even if the world above never recovered. So, modern shelters rely heavily on active systems, fans, filters, sensors, power grids, all of it. If electricity fails, so do they. Now, Cold War shelters, they assumed electricity would fail. That's why they used passive airflow systems, angled vents, pressure differentials, hand-crank blowers, no power required, no software to glitch, no AI to reboot. You didn't need technology to survive, you just needed physics. Here's something most modern shelter ads don't emphasize. Air is your first killer, not radiation, not fire. Carbon dioxide build-up. Cold War bunkers were absolutely obsessed with this. They calculated airflow manually. They overbuilt filtration. They planned for months, sometimes even years, underground. Modern shelters? Many are designed for days, maybe weeks. Because, let's be honest, most buyers just don't want to imagine never coming back up. Cold War shelters were built with a simple philosophy. Assume we're wrong, and build anyway. Walls several meters thick, redundant chambers, blast doors that weighed tons, mechanical systems with backups for the backups. Modern engineering is efficient, sure, but Cold War engineering was paranoid. And paranoia, in this case, saved lives. Here's a detail that rarely makes it into documentaries. Many Cold War shelters weren't built near cities. They were built away from them, hidden in mountains, buried beneath forests, carved into solid rock. Modern shelters? Often retrofitted beneath homes, luxury condos, urban developments. Convenient? Yes. But convenience was never the Cold War's priority. Distance was. Cold War planners understood something modern designs often ignore. Humans break before structures do, so shelters included routines, schedules, lighting cycles, purpose. Some even had classrooms, libraries, roles for every occupant. Because survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying sane. So why did we abandon this mindset? Why did we trade resilience for comfort? Why did shelters stop being designed for collapse and start being marketed as luxury real estate? And here's the most unsettling thought of all. What if modern shelters aren't built for total collapse? Because total collapse isn't something we're supposed to survive. Government bunkers, continuity of government facilities, underground command centres. They weren't just protecting people, you know. They were protecting control. And those shelters, many still exist, maintained, upgraded, off-limits, while civilian shelters became, well, optional. We love to believe newer means better, smarter means safer, digital means superior. But Cold War shelters remind us of a dangerous truth. Sometimes progress removes what fear once forced us to respect. Limits, failure, worst-case reality. This isn't about panic, it's about awareness. If disaster planning assumes rescue, what happens when rescue never comes? If survival depends on power, what happens when the grid stays dark? And if the best shelters ever built came from an era that expected the end of the world? What does it say about how seriously we take that possibility today? Cold War shelters didn't beat modern shelters because they were smarter. They beat them because they were honest. Honest about fear. Honest about failure. Honest about how fragile civilization really is. And maybe that's the real trick we forgot. If you found this unsettling, thought-provoking, or eye-opening, subscribe. Because history hides the future in plain sight.